Alright, what's going on, guys? It's the Boxing Genius here, and today we'll do something a little bit different. And I will explain to you guys how Pacquiao, or how Spence will defeat Pacquiao, how Spence can break him down, and we're gonna use a picture to demonstrate all of that, alright? So, the first one that I want to talk about is Spence's jab. And so, Spence's jab is more of a pushing one. What I mean by that is instead of coming from here and then pushing it right here, what he does is he just keeps his gloves right at around here, and then he pushes it right here, which makes it very quick, okay? He gets it off very quickly. And so how will that affect Pacquiao? Well, the thing is, whenever Pacquiao gets hit with the jab, he does two things. Number one, he either blocks it with his gloves, he blocks it right here, or he slips over to the left side. So I'll just give you the angle on Spence's side right here. He's gonna slip right here, and then he's going to be in the bladed stance. Now, if you look at Pacquiao, he's not necessarily a fighter who counters well off of the bladed stance. So if you constantly delay his combinations and his rhythm with your jab, there is a very huge chance that Pacquiao will stay in a bladed stance, alright, right here. His head will be right here, and he won't be able to set up his combinations because he can't really get off any punches off of that bladed stance, okay? He needs to be squared up. That's the way, or that's Pacquiao's way of throwing his combinations. He squares up and then he goes for the kill. He doesn't stay in his bladed stance and then throw his punches. Alright, so Spence's jab is not really detrimental, or it's not really going to affect Pacquiao in the sense that, oh, Pacquiao cannot enter. He definitely can. He can definitely cut the distance. The question is, how will he handle those delays, and how frustrated will he become when he constantly gets tagged with those shots? Okay, it's not necessarily the most powerful. Why is that? Because like I said a while ago, the first jab is gonna come from here, and then when he throws the next jabs, it's gonna come from here. He just kind of knocks on the door, so it's like knocking on the door. He's not necessarily throwing it with full extension, and he's not necessarily throwing it from here, from his shoulder, and then throwing it like that. It's not like that. So his jab is mostly just to put. His jab is mostly going to be detrimental in the sense that he will put Pacquiao in a bladed stance constantly. And if you look at that Diaz fight, whenever Diaz throws a left hook on the right side of Pacquiao's body, Pacquiao automatically turns his body and then he becomes bladed. And he can't really get off any punches with that. Now let's move on to the next one. Pacquiao's left hand. Now whenever you notice Pacquiao, he throws the left hand and he overcommits to it. He stays on the front foot for too long. Why does he get away with that? Because he's fighting orthodox fighters, okay? So if you're a fighting orthodox fighter, you throw a left hand here, you can automatically exit and then take a pivot right there. I know my drawing sucks. Don't worry about it, okay? So he throws the left hand here, and then what happens is, because he's now established the lead foot dominance, he can just pivot away. Now against a southpaw fighter, that's not possible. Why is that? Because their left foot is over here at the rear. So you really have no exit point, and you cannot escape this left hand. So if Pacquiao overcommits with the left hand here, he is very susceptible for Spence's counter uppercut or counter straight, okay? All Spence has to do is really to step back right here and then throw an uppercut as Pacquiao overcommits on the front foot. And that's really the problem with Pacquiao, and the reason why he gets away with that so much is because, like I said, he fights orthodox fighters and he has an exit point. What is that exit point? The exit point is right here, on the left foot of his opponent. When he exits this, he automatically secures himself from getting hit with a counter left hand from his opponent. Okay, and that's the reason why he gets away with it. And as you can see with Pacquiao, not only does he overcommit, sometimes he lifts his left foot all the way up, and his left foot is almost floating in the air. And this is really a dangerous thing against Spence, because number one, Spence is good at taking a little step back, and then countering you with the left uppercut, countering you with the left straight. Or he's really good at just staying there and then letting your left hand slide on his shoulder roll and then countering you with the left uppercut or with the left hand, left straight. Okay, so the reason why this is going to be really dangerous with Pacquiao if he does this habit is that he's gonna get countered all night. And like I said, I don't really see Spence knocking out Pacquiao. I can see him outboxing Pacquiao, and that's really the way I can see this one. Now, most of you fanboys will say, "Oh, you're a Spence fan." Go check out my original prediction first. It's currently my most viewed video on this channel, so thank you guys so much. But that's the second one. So a while ago I talked about Spence's jab and the tendency of his jab to put Pacquiao, or the possibility of his jab to put Pacquiao in a bladed stance, where Pacquiao turns his body on one side, which will be the left side because it's a southpaw. And then the left-handed Pacquiao puts him on the front foot, puts him closer to the left hand of his opponent, and because he's fighting a southpaw now, he can't really exit on the left side of Spence, like he did against De La Hoya. Whenever he threw the left hand against De La Hoya, he was always safe from De La Hoya's left hook. Why is that? Because he's always exiting on De La Hoya's left foot. Alright, so he's pretty much safe there. But because when you're fighting a southpaw, the left foot will be now on the rear, it's going to be much harder to do that. And all Spence has to do in order to counter you is just take a tiny step back and then counter you with a left uppercut. Have we seen this happen? Absolutely. We've seen it happen in Pacquiao versus Diaz, so don't even come at me, oh, it's Pacquiao. Pacquiao is different. Pacquiao has been hit with counter left uppercuts from his fellow southpaws. Look at the David Diaz fights, okay? He overcommits with the left hand. He goes all the way out here. He gets countered with the left uppercut or the left straight. Alright, so let's not be close-minded here. It's a possibility. Because whenever he throws the left hand, his body goes all the way here. Okay, and he overcommits on that shot. He gets away with it against orthodox, and then when he tries it against southpaws, he gets tagged. Alright, so that's the third one. Let's now talk about his Manila eyes, the right hook punch, and why it will be difficult to land against Spence, okay? So Spence is a back foot fighter, which means that his head will most likely be in line with his back foot, right there. Alright? And then he also has the bladed stance, which means that his head is most likely going to be on this side. Boom. So if Pacquiao decides to throw the Manila eyes, most likely it would just fly off right here. Because, again, Pacquiao is so used to throwing that at the center. He's not used to throwing that when his opponent's head is on the side. Why? Because he's always fighting orthodox fighters. Okay? Now, why did it work against Diaz? It worked against Diaz because Diaz is not a bladed stance. Diaz does not have the bladed stance. He has a squared up stance. So, I'll just draw it right here. David Diaz stands up like this. Okay? Spence stands up. How does it look like if it's a southpaw? Spence stands up like this, okay? His body is bladed, and then his head is more on the right side, or on his left side. And so that right hook will be hard to land, in addition to the fact that he's a back foot fighter, his head will be right here, and in addition to the fact that he has a very long reach as well. And he uses that reach to defend himself. Now, like I said, that can be detrimental for him, because he opens up a lot of spots for his face, so go look at my first prediction to further understand this. But that can also be very useful in the sense that Pacquiao really finds it hard sometimes to fight against, long distance fighters. Although he defeated Margarito, although he defeated Oscar De La Hoya, those are two completely different styles. Spence is much more defensively responsible than Margarito, and Spence is much more conservative than De La Hoya. De La Hoya is a very busy fighter. Now let's talk about the body shot. So we've talked about the jab, we've talked about the left hand of Pacquiao, we've talked about the Manila eyes, let's talk about the body shots. Alright, so the reason why I'm talking about this is because although Pacquiao has never been really, I'm not sure. Maybe there's a fucking fight from the 80s which is not shown on the footage. Maybe he got knocked down with a body shot. I personally haven't seen it yet. Maybe he has been hurt with a body shot before, but in terms of getting knocked out with a body shot, I personally haven't seen it. But I think he's very susceptible to body shots. The reason why is because his guard is very high, and whenever he gets on the ropes, his first instinct is to protect the head, and then the body the body, he blocks it at the last second. All right. Now, the body shots will be detrimental again. Why is that? Because like I said a while ago, whenever Spence throws the jab, and then whenever someone throws a jab at Pacquiao, he has a tendency to turn or block it. So whenever he turns it, his vision gets kind of limited, and he can get hit with, or when he turns to a bladed stance, there will be a possibility of Spence hitting him right here. Because when you're squared, this will be in front. When you're bladed, this will be on the side. And that makes it susceptible for the right hook of your opponent. So the right hook will come right down the center, right there. Okay, and then in addition to that one, Pacquiao really has short arms. So his ability to cover both the head and the body is very limited. Why? Because his arms cannot cover both spots. So he has to pick his poisons. And most of the time, whenever he thinks it's a headshot, he gets hit to the body. Whenever he thinks it's a body shot, he gets hit to the head. And against a guy like Spence, who's very good at changing levels and making it look like it's going to be a body shot when in fact it's going to go for the head at the last second, it's quite dangerous. It's quite dangerous. Now, like I said, I'm not just going to be talking out of my fucking ass here. It does happen. It does happen. It happened against Miguel Cotto. If you want to reference fight, go look at the fight with Miguel Cotto. There are times when Cotto will try to shoot for the body, and then he'll actually end up shooting for the head. And Pacquiao gets tagged. Pacquiao gets tagged. So I think the body shots will not really knock out Pacquiao or hurt him so much. It's more so deception. It's more so deception. And Pacquiao will really get confused whether it's a body shot or a headshot. Now, is there a possibility of it breaking him down and then he gets out of breath in the later rounds? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I don't think he'll get knocked down or knocked out. So that's the body shots. That's how I think of it. That's how I look at it with the body shots. Alright? And then the last one. Okay, another one with the body shots. It takes away your legs, takes away your ability to move. So the more you hit him to the body, the less Pacquiao will move, and then now, the flat-footed Spence will not have any problems catching him, okay? Because Pacquiao's defense really revolves around his footwork. Don't get me wrong, he has head movement, he has blocking, but it mostly revolves around his footwork, his angles. So if Spence can take that away with the body shots, he'll be in a pretty good spot. And the only way to really land those body shots is if you get him to the ropes. So without getting him to the ropes, you won't be able to hit him because he has all the space necessary to move away. So if you look at Pacquiao versus Thurman, the only time Thurman really hit him with those body shots is whenever Pacquiao is on the ropes. And I think Spence has the ability to put him in that position, okay? But not for too long, not for too long. Pacquiao has the great ability to get out of the ropes really quickly, okay? So that's the body shots. Again, we talked about the jab, the left hand of Pacquiao, the right hook of Pacquiao, the body shots of Spence. The final one I want to talk about is just the distance, the overall distance, and how hard it is for and how hard it's going to be for Pacquiao to land some shots against Spence. Like I said a while ago, all the long fighters, all the tall fighters that Pacquiao fought had the squared up stance. Only person who really had the bladed stance is Algieri. Reason why he defeated Algieri is pretty damn simple. He was an orthodox fighter, okay? And he didn't have good blocking skills. He didn't have good distance management skills. He just had lateral movement. That was all. Spence has great distance management. He's not the most active. He doesn't have the most active feet, but he does know how to move back. He doesn't know how to counter off of it, but he does know how to move back. He does know how to keep you at bay. He does know how to stick out his lead hand while he's moving back, okay? So he can keep you at bay. And I think this will be a long night for Pacquiao if Spence can really manage the distance well. I don't think he has to overcommit to the jab. All I really want Spence to do is to make Pacquiao respect his jab in the early rounds, and then be a little more conservative with it, or be a little more, how would I say this? I wouldn't say lazy, but don't throw it as much, okay? Throw it more as a checking tool, which means that you're gonna start from here and then you're gonna shoot it right there. Because I don't really think Spence's jab will hurt Pacquiao. I just think that it will delay the combination of Pacquiao, and it will delay the rhythm of Pacquiao. So the best way to really do that is by poing at right about this point and then shooting it at the face of Pacquiao when Pacquiao is about to throw his combinations, or when Pacquiao is about to counter, or when Pacquiao is about to start his combination. That's the best way right there. Okay, so we've talked about 5 things today. Spence's jab, which will put Pacquiao in the bladed stance. Pacquiao's left hand, which will put him in the front foot and make him susceptible for the counter left hand of Spence. The right hook, which will be hard to land because Spence has the bladed stance. His head will be more on this part, for the most part, unless he's being offensive. And how the Manila Ice will be difficult. how difficult it will be, I should say, to land the Manila Ice. Because number 1, long reach. Number 2, bladed stance. What do you have? And number 3, also, back foot. So you combine all of these together, long reach, bladed stance, back foot fighter. What do you have? A person that is hard to reach. Has Spence been hit before? Absolutely. Absolutely. But if Pacquiao decides to engage on the inside, I think Spence will win that one. Okay, this is not going to be a Porter versus Spence fight. Porter is really good on the inside. Pacquiao, as much as I hate to say it, he's not good on the inside, guys. He's not good on the inside. And he's mostly good at mid-range and long range. So if it's on the inside, if Pacquiao decides to engage on the inside, he will fall for Spence's trap. He'll get hit to the body all night long, uppercuts, hooks, and he'll get pushed around. And we don't want that. We want a Pacquiao that's constantly moving. We want a Pacquiao that's maintaining the distance. We want a Pacquiao that's moving side to side. Okay? And every once in a while, he can pressure Spence. Okay, cool. Alright? Every once in a while, he can move forward. Yeah, absolutely. But I think most of the fight will be done at the center of the ring. They're just circling around. They're not really going to the ropes. No one's really getting trapped on the ropes. And so that's it. Okay? And then you add on youth. You add on strength, upper body strength. You add on stamina. I think Spence is better at all those physical aspects as well. With the exception of speed and power. I think power definitely goes to Pacquiao. Because the damage of Spence's punches really comes from accumulation, not from one punch. Not from a one-punch KO power that he's gifted with, no. So that was it for this video, man. Reverse prediction for Pacquiao versus Spence. I ultimately think that if Spence is going to win this one, he's going to outbox, he's going to outsmart Pacquiao. He's not going to knock him out, but he's going to break him down. He's going to beat him up slowly through accumulation. Okay, and win by decision. So that was it. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.